This is the Prairie Lights Invitational U.S. Rules Croquet Tournament held in the first summer of the COVID, July 2020, at the lovely home and croquet facility of Mickey Huttenhoff and Ronnie Summers in Manhattan, Illinois. This is block play and a court that has become the center of Midwest Regional Croquet this year. This features Walt Janitz at a handicap of .5 and Brian Zindel at a nominal 9.0, which isn't going to last for long. Brian won the toss and elected to go in.
Nice shot.
I think this is Brian's second season playing croquet. He lives in southern Illinois, but has played on Jekyll Island in Georgia. He's also an amateur pilot, and he's flown over to Indianapolis to play with me a couple of times this summer. Based on what I've seen, his 9 handicap won't last very long. Walt Janitz lives in Indianapolis. He and his wife Sandy were avid croquet players who stopped 25 years ago to raise a family. And his .5 handicap comes from that era when the lowest handicap was probably a -2.
Did it roll back in?
No,
Walt had my job as Midwest Regional Vice President for the USCA when they stopped playing. He's struggling a little bit to regain his old form after a hip replacement last fall and after such a long layoff, but it's been a real pleasure for me to have somebody on my home lawn who knows how to make me pay for my mistakes.
You want to read the watch list for a
No,
Belvedere?
I think that you're a good referee.
Walt and his wife Sandy actually live in Eagle Creek, which is a suburb of Indianapolis, but I didn't even know they existed until I met them here at Mickey's place in Illinois last year. They've been friends for 30 years probably.
I did.
You can see that we're pretty nicely out in the country. This is 10 acres in the middle of a 200 or 300 acre cornfield. That tent over there is my sleeping quarters for the weekend. And we can put up another 5 players in the clubhouse, and with the lights, it makes it easy to play till 2 o'clock in the morning if you want. Whenever I make a mistake like that, Walt gets a bunch of hoops out of it. This is the first game in the morning, about 8:30, as you can tell from the shadows, and the dew that's still on the grass.
Is that where? I thought it was that.
Those are my Dawson balls that I striped myself, and I made the stripes wider than usual because I've heard so many European AC players complain about not being able to tell stripes from solids at a distance, depending on the orientation of the ball. It's either easy or impossible.
Hey, Brian, did you watch this shot? Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. No? Danny, did you come watch this shot?
As you can see, yellow never touched black. But the board shows yellow 3-ball dead, which it's not. That's why I rely on the digital deadness board. And I think that mistake comes into play later in the game. The yellow ball is encroaching, but it has not cleared the non-playing side, so it can't score the hoop. Whether black can hit yellow gently enough to keep it there, I don't know. Otherwise, he's going to have to take off from behind the hoop. I've practiced trying to come back through the hoop on a croquet shot in this situation, but it very seldom works.
I didn't play that. That didn't score the hoop, did
Brian thinks that yellow scored the hoop, which of course it had not. Walt did correct that clip placement error later on.
Is that makeable next time?
No.
Here's where Walt realizes that the yellow clip is misplaced. Unfortunately, he didn't realize that the board was incorrect, too. Brian is playing a PFC Hoopmaker by Peter Coles from Australia, and it has that Zealotron face, which is a plastic that has a much more traditional sound than the pinging metallic sound of the brass face on that same mallet. Walt's mallet is probably 25 or 30 years old. He just got a new Dave trimmer, which he hasn't put into action yet.
I like those plates.
He's been overhitting rather than underhitting this tournament. I don't know what happened there. He clearly knew what he was trying to do. And another opportunity for Walt. It's actually not all that great, though, because you can't do a leave for yellow because of the deadness, and black is up on the boundary where he's going to have trouble picking it up. The grass right in front of Hoop 2 is incredibly fast. It's been functioning as the Bermuda Triangle of this court for the whole tournament. The clips are now correct. Brian could Croquet blue, drop it off next to red, and go sit in front of hoop 3, especially since he thinks that yellow is dead on black.
Yellow passes.
Sounds like we have a cricket nest next to the camera. Trying to harass blue and black while he gets yellow clean, I would guess. This is pretty aggressive. Hit it on the other side, and red and yellow are going to get a 3-ball break out of it. This is pretty ambitious. He's got to put red where yellow can rush it to hoop 2 and get black within striking distance of yellow on this roll shot. Uh-oh, he's not setting up for enough of a roll. Once again, the board is misleading. Red is clean, having just made hoop 2, and yellow is not dead on black. But Walt doesn't realize that and is passing up an opportunity to Croquet black and make his hoop. So, because they never corrected this, I'm going to start using the board that reflects the player's impression of the state of the game. I had a nice chat with Bob Kroger about this, and we wanted to make clear that in the case of an incorrect board or misplaced clip position, there is no recourse unless there has been some verification of the state of the game that the players discussed. That would put it in the misinformation category and perhaps give some recourse. But in this case, if they figure out that the board is wrong, they just fix it. You can't go back and correct an error in judgment that you made based on the board being wrong if you didn't ask for verification at some point. Bob suggested that one way to handle this is for the players to agree at the beginning of the game that they will keep the board for each other, kind of the way golfers keep the scorecard for each other. I'm going to try that my next game because the process is pretty haphazard otherwise when there's no board keeper.
Can you go put that black and white ball on the other side of the line? A little rush down there.
That string is pretty loose. It's loose.
I think Wright's going to pass.
He thinks yellow is 3-ball dead, so he's more concerned about getting yellow clean than he was about picking up the 3-ball break he had. Something that AC players don't worry about that much because they would just plan on peeling yellow when you got back to one back with red. Ideally, that takeoff with black should have been aimed at red, because that would have let him continue his break for sure. And if he was too far from red to be safe, he still would have had a good shot on yellow.
Thank you.
So Walt let Brian off the hook when he was stuck in hoop 3, and Brian got a break to 1 back out of it. The board has never been corrected, so as I mentioned, I changed the digital board to reflect the player's impression of the state of the game. Brian thinks that red is dead on blue, which it's not. So he's going to yellow on the boundary to keep red and yellow from joining up. And lo and behold, Walt struck red before blue got out of bounds. So how do you deal with this? Technically, Brian could have made Walt reshoot red, but I'm not saying he did it for this reason, but blue got what he wanted. Because they think red is dead on blue, but it's just not. Now, Brian also thinks that yellow is dead on black, which it's not. All emphasizing that the board is only an aid to keeping track of deadness, and each player should check the board at the end of each turn to make sure it's right.
You already shot that, and I haven't shot that. Nobody over here, and I shot red.
Now, you're over there, and I made my run with black. And I shot black over by the head. And you shot yellow right here. And it was the same. And I shot blue over here. And it was still rolling in the grass when you shot red.
Okay. So yellow to shoot after all this.
Yellow shoot.
I must have thought he shot, and I shot before I shoot. tourist here. And look, that's not like me.
Here, I'm sure the wily veteran was careful to leave red an open shot on the hoop so that if blue stuffed the hoop, he could call first block. I only think it is stuff because I get 7 or 8 run-throughs when I edit one of these videos.
Damn it. Oh, that was off the side of my gallon. I'm just reaching off right here. Oh.
He could have played more for the rush on yellow toward black up by hoop 5 after this hoop and gotten his break going. For anybody who might not know, if you knock a ball out of bounds, it doesn't count as a croquet because you never got to be ball in hand and take advantage of having hit it, so you're not dead on it. As I said,
Yep.
Seriously?
We got 10 on the test.
Okay.
I surrender.
Sorry?
I surrender.
Okay.
I actually heard her the first time. I just wanted to make her say it again.
You didn't get the red clip. That's all right.
It's still okay.
No, what's on top of it? On schedule. All right.
Where? Oh, it's right there.
So, pretty effective attack. He's 3-ball dead, but he's in the jaws and probably safe.
Let me check it out. Now, you guys, are you guys still leaving the tank?
It looks like it's skidding. It obviously isn't. That's just aliasing. You get stop motion like that when the spin rate of the ball is equal to the frame rate of the video. And for a croquet ball, that translates to about 20 miles an hour. It actually starts looking like it's spinning backwards when you get to half the frame rate, or in this case, roughly 10 miles an hour.
Yeah, I got these at this. This I shouldn't have worn today because I lost my map, so probably blood flow. Yeah, I bought this in New Zealand, and now I have a white one, and they are great. Yeah. Yeah, it's not to do that. Jody, take a seat. Okay, so how long does it take to go? We're thinking of when we go back. And legal. And then there's that white museum that's part of history of slavery.
You gotta play her. I gotta play Ronnie.
Oh, well, Jared Scott's case is, yeah.
And Jeff Lee didn't show up.
That's the history of slavery museum. Of course, that was still there before it was done.
And if Jeff showed up, then I'll.
Oh, the Lewis and Clark exhibit? That's what got me really interested in
Are you up to taking on right now? You guys will start that. Jeff shows up early. Then. That's all that means.
I lost a whole bunch more points.
You like last time up.
No, but I mean, handicap.
You can't track. But I got 8. I got 16 tracking points. The handicap down the tree.
Maybe I should go to this one. He's got his championship shirt on. Look out. Look out.
I just spilled coffee all over this.
You're okay.
Where's our time at?
It's actually 1 minute. 1 minute.
Interesting. Teddy Prentice would have yelled at him for doing this. A better option is don't make one back now. Rush blue down toward the opponent. Split those 2 balls up, keeping them partner dead and yourself in complete control in last turns. With time about to run out, he might want to hit blue and get both of those balls out of bounds. He hasn't missed a shot that short all weekend.
Time.
So yellow is first ball in last turns, gets the 1 back clearance, and has to go to 3 back to make up the 9-point deficit and 4 back to win, or red can go to rover to tie and peg to win. Piece of cake. Oh my God. There is a chance.
Well, in California and Canada. Well, it's antisocial, not suicide. So apparently, if the right people show us, stop and let them play and finish our game later.
That's what Russ said. There's a game he has to get in for the distance, time, potential for the tournament.
I mean, Bill's fun. And he shot well.
Checking on the feasibility of picking up black out of the corner. I think we're witnessing the Walt Janitz of old.
Come on.
Unfortunately, the real-time and historical comebacks are not quite complete yet. So yellow is now legitimately 3-ball dead, and because red is dead on yellow, the game is basically over.
Yellow's down on red, so we're done. Oh, red.
Red's dead on yellow.
Yeah, we're done.
So Brian Zindel at 9 beats Walt Janitz at 0.5. I think as Brian develops tactically and Walt recovers his shooting form, these two are going to be fun to watch and play against.